ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो
ॐ
भगवते
नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते ॐ नमो
वासुदेवाय।
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते नमो
वासुदेवाय।
विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Speaking on Varnashrama Dharma reading. So we started reading yesterday and we covered preface and acknowledgements. mm, and we started introduction. We saw a biographical sketch of Srila Prabhupada, his life, his teachings. Then we also saw what is Varna Ashrama, what are the four Varnas, what are the four Ashramas. In that we saw what is the difference between Jati and Varna. Sometimes you use the word synonymously, Varna and Jati, but actually Varna means only Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But when you say Jati, you will have hundreds of Jatis. That's one difference. The other difference is Jati is based on birth. Based on birth, you assign a person to a particular Jati. But Varna is not based on birth. Varna is based on quality. So how a person will know what his Varna is, that will be decided by the Guru. The Guru will identify his Swabhava, and based on that Swabhava, he will decide the Varna of the disciple, and then he will train him accordingly in the duties of that particular Varna. And this person has to live, perform those duties throughout his life. Once his Varna is decided, there's no question of changing that Varna. Throughout his life, he has to practice that Varna. Of course, the idea also we saw of Varnashrama is uh, if by practicing Varnashrama, if you're not, the goal of practicing Varnashrama is to come to pure devotional service. So by practicing your Varnashrama Dharma, if you're not developing your taste for Krishna Katha, then such practice of Varnashram Dharma is simply useless labor. That is said in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this should be understood very carefully. But at the same time, so you cannot go to either extreme. One extreme is to say that Varnashram Dharma is everything. We have to just follow Varnashram Dharma, and this is the goal of life, and identifying yourself as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, that is not the goal. Because by the goal is to come to Krishna Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. And the other extreme is to say that Varnashram Dharma is material. It is simply for the people who are in the modes of goodness. We will directly chant Hare Krishna. There is no need of Varnashram Dharma. I came across something today. So we resumed reading Chaitanya Mangal yesterday. So now every Saturday, Sunday, we will be reading Chaitanya Mangal. Chaitanya Mangal, the author of Chaitanya Mangal is Lochan Das Thakur. And incidentally, coincidentally, or by the Lord's arrangement, day after tomorrow, December 31st, is the, I think, appearance day of Lochan Das Thakur. So there, I was just reading about Lochan Das Thakur's life, and it is said This very famous bhajan, which Srila Prabhupada sings, Parama Karuna Pahudui Jana, Nitai Gaurachandra. That is also given by Lochan Das Thakur, who is the author of Chaitanya Mangal. And there in that bhajan, it is said, yes, they are so merciful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are so merciful. They have given you bhajo bhajo bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrida Vishwasa Kari विषय छाड़िया सेरे से मजिया मुखे बोलो हरि हरि. You simply mukhe bolo hari hari, simply chant the names of the Lord. This is the mercy of Gaurnitai. Simply by chanting the names of the Lord you can get all perfection. But what is said before that? Vishaya chadiya. You have to give up sense gratification. That is the only condition there. The condition for you to take to chanting the holy name all the time is give up sense gratification. That aspect we are forgetting, isn't it? Yes, I will chant 16 rounds on one side, and on the other side, I will maintain my sense gratification. I will expand my kingdom of sense gratification, more and more wealth, more and more, ways of enjoying sense gratification. But at the same time, I'm also a devotee. That won't work. Vishaya chadiya serase majiya mukhe bolo hari hari. So, why I am saying this is, now I'm talking about the other extreme of varnashrama, where they say, you don't need varnashrama dharma, simply you chant Hare Krishna. Yes, simply you chant Hare Krishna if you have given up sense gratification completely. But you have not given up sense gratification. You may have tendency, that's a different thing. And even though you have such pushings inside, if you're fighting against it with the conviction that I have to only chant Hare Krishna, I have to only do devotional service to Krishna, Maya is very powerful and you're praying to Krishna. And in that, if sometimes Maya is, again, sometimes means because of your past impressions, you may become a victim of Maya at times. That's not being condemned because of your full faith in Krishna consciousness, even though Maya may overcome you at times because of your own past impressions. Even if that happens, because of your faith in bhakti, immediately you will be restored to your platform of bhakti. Very soon, very soon, you will come back to the platform of bhakti. So that is not being objected. But the objection is if you are still trying, you have goals, material goals, how you want to be comfortable, how you want to, and then you're working towards that. And at the same time, you're saying, I'm a pure devotee. And for sense gratification, also, what type of work you're doing? You're doing work which is against scriptural injunctions. How you expect to come to pure devotional service like that? How you expect to chant Hare Krishna 24 by 7 under those circumstances? So, to help us to come from this side, where now we are filled with, we are completely trained in this way that sense gratification is the goal. Whatever, whether you're sent to school or whether you are looking for a job, the goal is how I will get more and more wealth. And with that wealth, just work hard, earn, and then you enjoy. That's the goal of life. You go to any part of the world. So now to bring us from this platform to the platform of only chanting Hare Krishna, first of all, you have to know that is the goal. Then what is the way? The path is Varnashram Dharma to get to that. So don't forget the goal. While you're practicing Varnashram Dharma, don't forget the goal. The goal is pure devotional service. And at the same time, don't just reject Varnashram Dharma thinking that this is material. We will directly take shelter of transcendental Krishna consciousness. Yes, but are you able to do that? Right now, if you're not able to do that, because the thing is, you'll be able to chant for how long? 2 hours? 4 hours? 8 hours? What about the remaining time? That remaining time, you live in the mode of goodness. So that is why there has to be a balance. Hmm? Varnashrama dharma is not practiced for the sake of varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama dharma is practiced for the sake of coming to pure devotional service. So that is also given to us already. How much, what aspects are you following? Basically, what we are following. Varnashrama dharma does not mean you will engage in the demigod worship. We are not saying include all that now, because now it is varnashrama dharma. You will do all various types of karma kandas and yagyas and demigod worships and all that. No, varnashrama dharma means where it is very much simplified. It's given by our acharyas in the form of samskaras also. You have to follow samskaras. So all that we will read directly from Srila Prabhupada's words only. We will see all this. So let's continue. We started yesterday. I thought I'll just give a recap, quick recap. So we started introduction, and in introduction, what did we read? We started introduction yesterday. No, this is Srila Prabhupada's biography. And then we saw, so what are the four varnas? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, four ashrams, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. We saw the table of contents, what we are going to, what are the various headings under which we will be seeing Srila Prabhupada's quotes in this book. Then we saw introduction, and in the introduction we read the first page where we said, it is said that Varnashrama is a framework which will accommodate people with all different types of personalities. Just like you may have, you know, like those who are intellectuals, they will have their own group. Those who are, you know, managers type of people, they will have their own group. Hmm? And also like those who are doctors, they will have their own group, like that. But Varnashrama is such a framework where people with all different personalities can stay in the same framework, in the same society. Not only people with different personalities, but also people from different phases of life. So in one person's life, there will be various phases. First is student life, then householder life, then retired life, and finally renounced life, like this. Various stages will be there. All these people can live together in one society. But that is not all. So each of these categories will have their particular duties. But even that is not all. Simply to say that Varnashram society means where there is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, they're all living and they have their own duties. They're living like this is Sannyasi group, this is Vanaprastha group, this is Grihastha group, and they're living their lives doing their duties. No. The main thing is how they are able to interact with each other. The relationship between one group and the other, by which the whole society is actually progressing nicely towards the goal. The goal is pure devotional service. There are various groups, but how these groups are, the interrelationship between the various groups for the common goal of advancing towards pure devotional service. That's what we read yesterday. Now let's read the next page. Second page of introduction. I'll just keep reading. So as I said, at any point while I'm reading, if you want any discussion, you have any question, or you want to make a comment, just raise your electronic hand and we can stop and we can discuss and we can continue. This is not like a classroom. This is more like a discussion group, okay? To get an understanding of what is this Varnashram Dharma, and this understanding we want to get through the words of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada means Srila Prabhupada is representing our entire disciplic succession. So what is the vision of our acharyas for us? And what is the importance of this Varnashram Dharma? Through Srila Prabhupada's words, we are understanding. So at any point, if something is not clear, or you want to say something, just raise your hand and we will discuss. And if nobody is raising the hand, means I will consider that we should just continue reading. Okay? And whatever comes to my mind, I will try to say something also. So, next. Now we know that not all marriages are loving, supportive relationships. Why marriage has come here? In yesterday's reading, this varnashrama is, we can make a comparison between varnashrama and marriage, it is said. How? In a marriage, there is a boy and a girl, but there are duties, right? What does marriage mean? That means there is a, it's not just a relationship between the boy and girl. There are duties for the boy, duties for the girl, right? And so many things are involved when there is marriage. Mutually supportive relationship. So now we know that not all marriages are loving, supportive relationships. In some marriages, the partners may be hateful and abusive. But that does not mean that marriage is meant to promote hatred and abuse. Hmm? Not all class systems are cooperative, mutually supportive social structures. At this point in history, in fact, we do not see any prominent examples of such social structure. But that does not mean that social structure is meant to promote exploitation and abuse. Social structure, as originally designed by the Supreme Lord, is meant to provide material welfare and spiritual progress for all members of society. It is this original social structure, Varnashrama Dharma, sometimes known as Daiva Varnashrama, that Srila Prabhupada wanted his followers to establish for the benefit of people all over the world. So, comparing Varnashrama with the institution of marriage. So, we don't see that in marriage all marriages are successful. Mhm. uh, but just because some marriages are a failure and there is abuse, should we just remove marriage from the system altogether? They've done that. That is why when you follow your own mental speculation, there is no end to how far you can go. So many things have come up. I'm not even aware, actually, to tell you honestly, I'm not aware of all the things that are happening. I think the new generation knows much more about what is going on in the world. You know, there is transgender, and I heard in one Bhagavatam class how, some people, they believe that, not just some people, there are like movements. They believe that we should have a right to be who we want. So some people believe that they are dogs now. So even though they have these human bodies, they will act like dogs. They have a dog kennel and they go and stay there. I mean, there's many, many weird, crazy things happening in the world. Why? Because you let your mind, your unbridled mind, unbridled means the mind is not controlled. Hmm? If you remember that example that is given in Bhagavad Gita, the five senses are the horses, the reins are the mind. So the mind is supposed to control the senses. And then there is intelligence, the chariot driver who's holding the reins. And then there is the passenger, the spirit soul. So if the horses are controlled by the mind and the mind is held by intelligence, then the chariot is going smoothly. But if the mind is controlling, is going out of hand, the mind is not being controlled by intelligence, you just let the mind go wherever it wants to go, what is the result? And this intelligence is nothing but from Shastra we get direction. Intelligence, when you take intelligence from Shastra, what is in the 18th chapter we read? What is intelligence in the mode of goodness? Anyone remembers? Intelligence, buddhi in the mode of goodness. What is it? You don't remember? Buddhi in the mode of goodness means you know what is to be done, what is not to be done. What is dharma, what is adharma. This is buddhi in goodness. How you will know what is dharma, what is adharma? From Shastra only you will know. So therefore, that intelligence which is rooted in Shastra, when mind is controlled by that intelligence, then life will go smoothly. But if your mind is not controlled by, that means the direction for life is coming from Shastra. Varnashram dharma is given in Shastra. When you reject that, because there are some faults, some marriages are failure, so we'll give up marriage. If people tried following the varnashram dharma and it failed in some cases, so now we will give up varnashram dharma altogether. What will you do after giving up this varnashram dharma? That is the result today, whatever we are seeing in the world. And it is only going to go down further and further and further, because the foundation, the platform is not Shastra here. Your mind is the one that's deciding, and there is no limit to where you can go. So that is why, just because there are some faults means some mistakes have happened, and even that mistake, there is no fault in the system itself. The fault is in application. Because of immaturity, the principles were not applied properly, and therefore there were some adverse consequences. We discussed that also, about how varnashrama is three types. Uh, there is karmi varnashrama, there is impersonal varnashrama, and daiva varnashrama. So in karmi varnashrama, people will say, I was telling you yesterday how brahmanas, right, they want to be the, they want the proprietorship. So they didn't share the Vedas with the rest of the society. And then the other people rebelled against them, and they rejected the Vedas. They rejected the Varnashram system completely. So certainly there were faults. Faults means some people abuse the system. That is not being defended here. Yes. But does that mean you will reject the system altogether? Then what is your hope? Where will you go? That's the point. Just like in marriage, you say that's happening already. It started actually decades ago. No marriage now. We don't want marriage. We will live together and we will enjoy. And after some time, I don't like my partner, I will change partners. But the result is there's only depression, there is chaos, there is unhappiness, there is no stability. Okay. So it is this original social structure Varnashram Dharma, sometimes known as Daiva Varnashrama, that Srila Prabhupada wanted his followers to establish for the benefit of people all over the world. In this volume, we'll see that Srila Prabhupada's approach to Varnashrama focuses on the development of farm communities. So remember, we said actually there are 7 series of this uh, uh, this effort. So the first one that we are reading now, speaking about varnashrama, this is first of the 7 series. So here the focus, the topic is development of farm communities, to show the example of ideal Vaishnava social culture. Social culture. How do Vaishnavas live in a society of devotees? How do they maintain themselves? What is their social structure? That's what we are seeing. Through his secretary, Prabhupada sends a letter of encouragement to Hari-sauri Das at the new Govardhana farm in Australia. On these farms, we can demonstrate the full Varnashram system. This is Prabhupada writing. On these farms, we can demonstrate the full Varnashram system. What is full Varnashram system? So when you say farm community, generally we think farm community means you grow your own food and you keep some cows, and that's the farm community. What about protection? That is only the Vaishyas. That's why we said Varna Ashrama means 4 Varnas are there: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So, Grihasthas, what are the Grihasthas supposed to do? Are all Grihasthas going to simply do farming and cow protection? What about the other needs of society? Now, for that, you'll go to the outside society for those things. So, Varnashrama society means completely self-sufficient, not dependent on the outside world. Then you need also, for a Varnashram society, you need Brahmanas, you need Kshatriyas, you need Vaishyas, and you need Shudras also. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying here on this farm community, we can actually show full Varnashram system. That means there will be Kshatriyas also. Just like now we see In some parts of the world, uh, based on religion, people are being tortured, devotees are being tortured, the temples are getting burnt, the deities are being desecrated. What are we doing? What can we do? So if you have your own community, devotee community, and if somebody attacks like this from outside, and if everyone is simply doing farming and cow protection, how will you defend the devotees? How will you protect the devotees? So there should be, in a varnashram society, there should also be kshatriyas who are actually protecting the community. And like this, there will be individual communities all over the world, completely self-sufficient. They can produce their own food, they can protect themselves, they can educate their own people. They will have Gurukul systems, Varnashram colleges, everything completely self-serve. They'll have their own, like marriage institutions, everything, old age, how to take everything completely taken care of from all angles. That is full varnashram system. So Srila Prabhupada is writing to Hari-sauri Prabhu about this farm community in Australia. On these farms, we can demonstrate the full varnashram system. If these farms become successful, then the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness. See? So these uh, these societies, varnashrama societies or farm communities, Daiva Varnashrama community, you should call it Daiva Varnashrama community or a farm community. They will be like examples for the whole world. So devotees have to start, because outside they don't know, they don't have this knowledge to start. They may try just growing some food, some natural living, but to have a completely self-sufficient community, and that too with the goal of pure devotional service, who is going to do this? The devotees have to do. So when devotees start such communities, this will actually show the rest of the world how to live, and they will naturally be attracted, because outside, what do you see? When you see in the world outside, uh, there is only instability, there is only uncertainty. They are tired of this. Now they will see an alternative, and it will be very attractive preaching. They will come and they will take to Krishna consciousness simply by seeing our way of lifestyle when such communities are established. This will be a very strong preaching tool also. On these farms, we can demonstrate the full Varnashram system. If these farms become successful, then the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prithivite Ache Jata Nagara Adi Gram. So yesterday I said Gram, there's Nagara also. So cities and villages both are included. Ache Jato Nagar Adi Gram, cities and villages, Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Moranam. Everywhere my name is going to be uh, preached and chanted. Mahaprabhu is saying, how that will be possible? When we start these farm communities. Srila Prabhupada is saying, the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness. Farm communities offer the possibility of self-sufficiency, and for Prabhupada, self-sufficiency is central to Varnashram. You won't be able to introduce Varnashram unless you are self-sufficient. As long as you're depending, that's the whole problem now. If you ask just the devotees who are in this group, everyone would want this, where we have, we can peacefully, we can live with devotees. This is the dream of all devotees, where we can simply be living with devotees. You rise early in the morning and you just see devotees, you go to the temple, you're worshipping the deity, and all day long, whatever you're doing, not just ladies, of course, we are at home, but even the men, everyone, the children, when they go to school, all wherever you go, you only hear. They're all aspiring for pure devotional service. How wonderful it would be. It would be like Vaikuntha on earth if it is like that, isn't it? So, uh, this is the vision. So then, oh, I'm sorry, I lost track here. uh, Self-sufficiency is central to Varnashram. So when you're self-sufficient, when you don't have to depend on the society outside, then you can have, your own varnashram system. But as long as you're dependent, just like now, if the head of the family is working in a company, you know, that the proprietor of the company or his manager, he is controlling what this person will do. Today is Janmashtami, but I have to go to work because it's not a weekend. You're a devotee, you want to celebrate Janmashtami, but you have to go to work. Hmm? Or you have some exams. Exams don't wait for festivals. Oh, it's Gaur Purnima, but I have my final exam, I have to go. So as long as we are dependent on the society outside, then it will interfere. It will interfere with even this is just for divorce. But when you have a whole varnashram system, it is the central thing in varnashram. Self-sufficiency is central to varnashram system. If you want to actually have your own community, it has to be self-sufficient. You cannot have dependence on the society outside. Self-sufficiency is central to Varnashram. Thus, he advocates simple living and high thinking. Produce your own food, produce your own cloth. We hear him exhort followers even in his last days in Vrindavan. Farms always also provide the opportunity to engage in cow protection, which, along with brahminical culture, Prabhupada calls one of the two pillars of spiritual advancement. What are the two pillars of spiritual advancement? Cow protection, Brahminical culture. Cow protection and Brahminical culture are the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Village organization is an important means of reviving our Krishna consciousness. Village organization, what does that mean? How do you organize the village? Village organization is an important means of reviving Krishna consciousness. What is the goal? Reviving Krishna that means village organization means varnashram system only. Having Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. This is organization of a village. This is an important means to revive Krishna consciousness in the whole society, in the whole world. He tells devotees at Gita Nagari farm. Krishna, in his natural life, is a village boy in Vrindavan. He is satisfied in that life. So, those who are Krishna conscious, they should be satisfied with simple life in the village. Yes, Mataji. Saumya Braja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
మాతాజీ విలేజ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ అంటే వర్ణాశ్రమ ధర్మం ఒకటే కాదు మాతాజీ. విలేజెస్ లో చాలా ప్రేమగా ఉంటారు మాతాజీ, ఒకరికొకరు చాలా ఆ, ఆ, అంటే బయట వాళ్ళు కూడా బంధువుల మాదిరే ఉంటారు. వేరే అన్ని క్యాస్ట్ల వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉమ్, ఒక ఫ్యామిలీ మాదిరి ఉంటారు. అన్న తమ్ముడు అనుకుంటా. మీరు వేరే క్యాస్ట్ మేము వేరే క్యాస్ట్ అనే ఫీలింగ్స్ కూడా ఉండదు అనమాట. చాలా ప్రేమగా ఉంటారు. అది మాతాజీ అక్కడ మీనింగ్ నాకు అనిపించింది.
Okay. Mataji is saying that when it is said village organization does not only mean where there is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Actually, village organization means where there is loving relationships between people. They treat the members of the village, they live like one family. Even though they may belong to different varnas and different ashramas, that loving relationship is there between people. So this is village organization, Mataji saying. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So that was also said in the when we started introduction. Same point, what Mataji said, the same thing was said there. That Varnashram system does not mean just having Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. The more important thing there is, that's how we started today at the beginning, the interrelationship with these various groups like Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, their interrelationship and how they are mutually supporting each other for the common goal of Krishna consciousness. So when we say here village organization, So what I meant to say was, when we think about village organization, we may think that, oh, we should have, uh, village organization means, the houses will be here and the field will be here, and there will be a school here and there will be a hospital here. We may think that is village organization. My intention was to say that's not, because generally you think of a village as a map, right? So when you think of a village, you see a map, and then you will see what is located where. Or in this corner, there is the fields will be here, the goshala will be here, the school will be here, and this we will think that that is the organization of a village. I was trying to say not just physical location. Village means people, and people must be divided based on varna and ashrama. That is a village, because even today also we have villages, but there is no system of varna and ashram. System is not there. They may have the names, right? Like you have your last name title, that you are a, Chaudhary, or you are a, like a Dvivedi, Tripathi, or you are a Raja, Singh, like that. That means to show that you are actually belonging to that Varna. But if you see what are the activities that they do, even if the parents have been doing, mostly they may engage in some agricultural work at most. Agriculture, and maybe some cows they may have. But other than that, they don't have kshatriya and such duties. They don't have in villages even now, right? That is now completely common. The government takes over. So village organization means each village is completely self-sufficient. That is the point here, self-sufficient. How you are self-sufficient? You have your own system in place. You have your own administration, local government you will have, made of the members who live in that village. You have your own system of government. You have your own education system. You have your own food production. You have your own cloth, everything completely self-sufficient. Now, to do this, there should be different people who are doing different activities. Somebody is doing, someone has the tendency of a brahmana, the swabhava of a brahmana. He will be studying the scriptures. Based on scriptures, he will guide the rest of the society. They will become teachers, right? Like that. So when we say village organization, everyone has to be there. All varnas and ashrams need to be there in a village. It is not that, village means just, we'll have one school and one this and this, and now we are a village. Not sufficient, not like that. Everyone has to be there. All four varnas and ashrams have to be there. And again, simply having these four varnas and ashrams and doing their duties, is that all? No. How they are interacting, what are the relationships between people? Relationship means the goal is common. The goal is for everyone to come to pure devotional service. That means now their duties are also done with that goal. Now Kshatriya is giving protection. What is the protection that a Kshatriya is giving? He will make sure that every member in that society, in that village, is properly engaged according to his nature, and he is engaged according to his nature to make progress towards pure devotional service. If somebody is not doing that, then he will punish people. Or if someone else is trying to interfere with someone's doing their duties, he will correct that situation, like that. So with a common goal. But of course, Mataji brought out a very, very important point, which is missing, that loving relationship has to be there. That will come. That will come. When you have, just like when there is a father and there are children. So if everyone loves father, right? If everyone loves father, then that will be the common thing that will bind the sons. So they will love each other also. When there is love for father, they will love each other also. That will come. If the center is in place, then everything else will fall into place. Mataji, Saumya Mataji,
హరే కృష్ణ మాతాజీ.
చెప్పండి.
అన్ని వర్ణాల వాళ్ళు కూడా సమాజం హితం గురించి కోరుకోవాలి మాతాజీ, అప్పుడే అది సక్సెస్ అవుతుంది.
అవును.
బ్రాహ్మణుడు కూడా అది మాతాజీ.
Yeah.
అంటే ఆ పాయింట్ చెప్తే బాగుంటుంది అనిపించింది.
Yes, certainly. So it's not just the duty of the Kshatriyas to make sure that everyone is, properly doing their duty. Mataji is saying every member in that village Whether you are doing the duty of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, it does not matter. Everyone must be concerned about the well-being of the whole society, of the whole village. Everyone must be concerned that my neighbors and everyone else is properly situated and they're all making progress toward Krishna consciousness, like that. So we can continue reading now. So village organization. Village organization is an important means of reviving our Krishna consciousness. He tells devotees at Gita Nagari farm. So Gita Nagari farm is actually nearby uh, I am in Philadelphia, and about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I think, from Gita Nagari, from Philadelphia, is the Gita Nagari farm community. So our deities, Jagannath deities from the temple, go to Gita Nagari every year for Rath Yatra. We have a Rath Yatra in Philadelphia, but also there is a village style Rath Yatra in Gita Nagari farm community. So this is Gita Nagari farm. So, village organization is an important means of reviving our Krishna consciousness, he tells devotees at Gita Nagari farm. Krishna, in his natural life, is a village boy in Vrindavan. He is satisfied in that life. So, those who are Krishna conscious, they should be satisfied with simple life in the village. A simple lifestyle of taking care of cows, living as Krishna taught by his personal example, will help us remember Krishna. What? But what about the cities? Ah, okay. So if you're living a simple, so this is Krishna's lifestyle, Vrindavan lifestyle. If we live that lifestyle, naturally that is called the mode of goodness. Village life is in the mode of goodness. So when you are in living in the mode of goodness, Satvat Sanjayate Jnanam, right? Naturally, in the mode of goodness produces knowledge. What is that knowledge? Yathartha Jnanam. What is Yathartha Jnanam? This world is temporary. These relationships are temporary. This body is temporary. The reality is the spirit soul. And if you're actually living by the principles of Daiva Varnashrama system, not just Varnashram system, then naturally, not simply realizing that I'm a spirit soul, realizing that I am a servant. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. I am an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the reality. So all your activities will be done with that foundation, with that understanding, underlying understanding. So, therefore, if you live in a village, becoming a devotee becomes very easy. Practicing Krishna consciousness becomes very natural if you're living this lifestyle. Why? Because this is Krishna's lifestyle. Krishna lives in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a village. Vrindavan is not a big city with big factories and trucks and highways and airplanes. This is not Vrindavan. So then this is opposite to a natural lifestyle. This is an artificial lifestyle. How do you expect to get, uh, to remember Krishna while living under circumstances which are against the natural lifestyle? But what about the cities? That does not mean that we shall avoid city life or town life. No, Prabhupada explains everything, every place is Krishna's place. Everywhere there should be Krishna consciousness. So now, does that mean that, okay, now we will, because this is natural lifestyle, we won't go to cities anymore? That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So if you say that, okay, so we should all live in villages, so then we won't go to cities. Cities are Maya, we won't go to cities. Where did all these devotees come from? Where did we come into contact with devotees? Because Prahlad Maharaj also says, majority of the people are living in cities. Right now, if you go to big cities, like in India, you can take Bombay, you can take Delhi, Hyderabad, and here you can take New York. It's packed, and there also in the cities, when you go to downtown, that's where you'll see so many people all the time, isn't it? So that is where devotees go to cities not for themselves. They go to cities to preach Krishna consciousness, to attract these conditioned souls to Krishna consciousness. So therefore we have temples in cities. and very successful temples in cities. That is why Srila Prabhupada's movement has Sankirtan movement, temple entry movement, initiation movement, and finally Daiva Varnashrama, or it's called the classless society. Classless society. These four are there. All four are required. So Srila Prabhupada is saying here, so should we just leave the cities? No. But also later on we will see who will be in the cities and who will be in the villages. The brahmacharis, they should stay in cities, in the temples, to go out and preach every day. What about the grihasthas with families? They should all go to live in the villages. Because now you have children, you have wife, you need a setup. You need schools and all that. Otherwise, if you're living in cities, now the children are exposed to this demoniac civilization. How to help them become Krishna conscious? That's a big challenge. So Inya and Inba, their parents have made the best decision. They used to live here in America, but they moved permanently to go back. And actually, they are now Prabhuji, their father, His Grace Jai Ganesh Prabhu. He started taking care of cows. mm, And he, I don't know if he's still doing, but he was a software professional. But he gave up all that, and now full time he has dedicated himself to taking care of cows. And they're not like, they're still small children. Now they're like, I think 12, 13 years old. But uh, they made that decision, right? So, like that, it's not impossible. It's about having that faith and taking that step. Okay. So Prabhupada is saying that does not mean that we shall avoid city life or town life. No, Prabhupada explains everything. Every place is Krishna's place. Everywhere there should be Krishna consciousness. Yeah, we cannot say, oh, now we won't go to cities. Then who will preach to the people in cities? In Vrindavan and Allahabad, we'll see Prabhupada explain the role of city temples as staging grounds for organizing Varnashram communities. You will get your people from the cities only. They're the staging grounds, preparatory grounds for Varnashram communities. So you attract people who are living in the cities, bring them to these temples, and in these city temples, you will have Varnashrama colleges where they're educated, and after they're sufficiently educated, now they will all move to the farm communities. So that's the role of city temples. In Vrindavan and Allahabad, we'll see Prabhupada explain the role of city temples as staging grounds for organizing Varnashram communities. In the first phase, devotees should go into the cities and attract the people by establishing temples and distributing Krishna conscious literature. This is the first stage, Sankirtan movement. Go to cities, go out on the streets, do book distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, meet people on the streets, in campuses, in college, and then bring them to the temple. Every Sunday we have program, every morning and evening we have program. Come, invite them. That is first stage. Second, as people become devotees, they can be brought to farm communities where they can live the Krishna conscious lifestyle described in the books and remain fixed up in devotional practice and without the temptations and material allurements of the cities. So this is like kind of simplified. So it is said here in only two steps. First step is go and preach, and second step is bring them to farm communities. In between, there's two more steps actually, stages. So first, when you go out and you preach, then they will come to the temple. First, they'll come to the city temple and they'll start coming regularly. They will be learning, hearing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Then also, then that's when they come, there should be Varnashram college in the city temple, which is also training them, equipping them with the tools required to live in a farm community. What type of skills do they need to go and live in a farm community? That happens here in the city temples. And then when they're finally convinced, they get, yes, this is what we are supposed to do. So they'll take initiation also, right? Now they have made a commitment. Now they're serious about devotional service. Now what? Now you go to the farm community. And go to the farm community, that means Varnashrama, Daiva Varnashram society, and you live there. According to Srila Prabhupada's vision, the modern industrial cities provide an environment which crushes spiritual development. Modern industrial cities, they provide an environment which crushes spiritual development. This town life, industrial life, factory life is asuric, demoniac life. It is killing human ambition. It is killing human ambition, right? Naturally, human beings, you know, where do you find, when you're in a village at night, you sit outside the house, or when, you can even put your bed outside the house, right? And you look up at the sky and you will see so many stars. And naturally, there are so many inquiries you'll get. Naturally, just being a human being, you'll get all these inquiries. What must be there in the stars? What's happening there? Are there people? But all this is finished in this modern demonic lifestyle. You don't even see the sky, and even if you see the sky, you don't see any stars in cities. What questions you'll get? And now you're bombarded so much with so much music and loud sounds. The television is going on all the time. Your phones are going on all the time. Yes, Mataji. Saumya Vrajagopi Mataji.
మాతాజీ ఇప్పుడు పిల్లలకి పాలు ఆవుల నుంచి వస్తుందని కూడా తెలియదు మాతాజీ. ప్యాకెట్ లంచ్ వస్తుంది.
Yes. Children don't even know that milk
అంత
comes from
మోసంగా
cows. They know that milk comes from packets. Yes, Mataji. Same thing here also. Milk means it comes in containers, jugs it comes. That's all they know. Where do apples come from? Where do fruits come from? That is why local government, right? Local government, living locally, growing your food, then we will see. You will have your own goshala, you will have the garden. You can go and pick vegetables every day for cooking. You cut the vegetables, you prepare. Very much degraded. People are used to, my children, they online, they meet with, when they interact with other students, uh, they don't even cook at home. They order like breakfast, lunch. They just order from restaurants daily. That's their life. Cooking is a rare thing because no time. Father is working, mother is working, children also have school. So then who will cook and who will do all the whole system is spoiled. How they will know now? How, how pizza is made. So they'll order pizza or whatever they'll order from the restaurant. They will know how it is made. Nobody will know how to cook. Forget about rice, dal, and sabji and roti. Where it is coming from, how it is made. We're going far, far away from the Vedic culture. Yeah. So our children don't even know that milk comes from cows. For them, here, cows means they see cows as food. This town life, industrial life, factory life is asuric, demoniac life. It is killing human ambition. It is killing civilization, he tells devotees. The city temples can provide a way out of that environment. So, this is the purpose of city temples, to provide a way out of this lifestyle. You come to the temple, learn, and get out of the city lifestyle. That is the purpose of preaching in the cities. That's all. Not that, oh, there is a temple, now we will live comfortably here, we'll build our nice homes and we will live comfortably in the cities. That's not the idea at all. The city temples can provide a way out of that environment by training devotees and directing them to Krishna conscious farm communities where they can find wholesome occupations favorable to spiritual development. So, whatever you do to earn your livelihood, that occupation is wholesome. That work itself is helping you in spiritual development. Aropa Siddha Bhakti, like we were discussing yesterday. Aropa Siddha Bhakti, or I think in Chaitanya Charitamrita class we were discussing. Aropa Siddha Bhakti means you're doing karma, and that karma you're offering to the Lord. And because you're offering that karma to the Lord, your karma also becomes bhakti. Aropa Siddha Bhakti. So, uh, if you're doing work which is prescribed, and there's much discussion on this, what type of work can be offered. Yes, you can offer the work that you're doing here also, uh, vikarma also you can offer, but that is only in the initial stages. In the initial stage, because now you've been doing vikarma all these years, before you make that change you have to survive. So while you're doing this work to survive here, what will you do? Offer that also. But not that because that, that liberty is given, you can offer vikarma also. When that is said, now I will live all my life doing vikarma because Bhagavatam says we can offer vikarma, so I will offer vikarma and I will live like this. That is cheating. That is in the beginning you offer, but you should start moving forward. Change your vikarma to Vedokta karma, karma which is given in the Vedas. So that is why here it is said wholesome occupational duties. You move to the farm community, and the work that you do for your livelihood will be according to the Vedic injunctions. Whether you're doing farming or you're doing teaching or you're doing administrative work, it should be according to Shastras, where they can find wholesome occupations favorable to spiritual development. So that will actually help you in progressing in Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada also realizes that people living in the modern world may have become so far out of contact with the natural lifestyle demonstrated by Krishna that they are afraid to move to a simpler way of life. Isn't it? This is the problem. They're afraid. Arey, if I move to this simple way of lifestyle, I may not be able to sustain myself. That fear is there. I may not be able to support my family. What will I do there? What if the crop fails or what something, right? So there is fear. Even though you like it and everything, but to actually make that move, you're experiencing fear. They're afraid to move a simpler way of life. Why? Because they have become too comfortable with this way of lifestyle. They have become too comfortable having your air conditioners, having your refrigerators, going in cars and heaters and everything, your televisions and phones and internet, electricity. When these things are not there, then I cannot live. There is fear. So Srila Prabhupada is saying people have gone so far out of contact with the natural way of lifestyle that they become afraid to move to a simpler way of life. He notes that even the farmers' sons have left farming. Of course, now you see, right? The father is a farmer, but the father also won't encourage the son to become a farmer. He will tell him, you study nicely, become a doctor, engineer, go to America, earn, have a nice, comfortable life, get an easy life. What is there in this farming, right? You have to work so hard and you don't even get, proper facilities to live comfortably. Instead, you study nicely, you can live nicely, comfortably. Even the farmers' sons have left farming. Therefore, in Vrindavan, he proposes a varnasrama college that will teach not only spiritual knowledge but also practical skills such as how to give protection to the cows, how to till the field and grow food. When all of us went to schools and colleges, what did we learn there? Right? Whatever we learned there, am I using it? Except for, whatever discipline you may have learned, you know, that you have to, yeah, some discipline. Apart from that, I see that's what I'm using. Uh, but other than that, the subject itself, which I have learned, I'm not using it in my life. And even, and what to speak of how you're going to use it in progressing in Krishna consciousness. People may say we are earning money by that education, and that education also ultimately you need that certificate. What you actually do at your workplace, that training is given there in the workplace. What actual work you have to do. But for that, so much preparation, so many years of your life you go and study, school hours, after school hours, tuitions and tutorials and exams, so much preparation, isn't it? Now, so much preparation we are doing simply to get a job and, you know, get settled in life. This can be given by devotees also in varnashram colleges. And you don't have to work so hard. 9 to 5, you don't have to work. You can do duties which are natural to your swabhava, which is which you can relate to it because it matches with your personality. You will get satisfaction simply by doing that work. You're getting satisfaction. It's not that you have to just do it because, otherwise who will pay the bills at home and how I will pay my children's school fees. Not like that. You will do it because this is my dharma, this is my nature. It's your nature to do that work. You will do it. And on top of that, you will do it to offer it to the Lord. My work will be offered to the Lord. How nice that lifestyle will be. So this has to be taught. Now, for someone to do that work, some training has to be given. That's why Varnashram College comes into picture. Varna Ashram College, as the word suggests, duties of the various Varnas and Ashrams will be taught there. It is not just, Varnashram College is not about teaching you, Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna Leela. That's not the idea. That we will study anyway. Spiritual education we get. But Varnashram College's purpose mainly is to provide the skills needed for the people to sustain themselves in Varnashram societies. So if you're a Brahmana, what are the various duties you can do? So if you're doing yagyas, then training has to be given for that. If you're a teacher, then for that also training has to be given. If you're a Kshatriya, how to rule, how to collect taxes, and how to give protection. So much Arthashastra, right? So much training is there. So all this is taught in Varnashrama college. So therefore in Vrindavan he proposes a Varnashram college that will teach not only spiritual knowledge but also practical skills such as how to give protection to the cows, how to till the field and grow food. Leaders will be taught how to properly protect their citizens and provide them with training, land and appropriate occupations. Prabhupada also points out the dangers of an oppressive social system, condemning the modern caste system. Yes. So what we've discussed earlier, the Brahmanas taking the position that they are the only proprietors, right? And depriving the others because they want to be worshipped and exploiting the rest of the society. So this is called an oppressive social system. So Prabhupada also pointed out the dangers of an oppressive social system where one person, takes undue advantage and exploits the rest of the members. Hmm? So, condemning the modern caste system, which designates people by their birth rather than by their natural abilities, as a perversion of Krishna's original Varnashram system. So, that we discussed in the past. Even in his earliest lectures, he emphasizes the importance of mutual respect among members of different Varnas. Just like Mataji said, Saumya Vrajagopi Mataji said. Even in his earliest lectures, Srila Prabhupada emphasized the importance of mutual respect among members. Not only mutual respect, even loving relationships, like Mataji said, among the members of different Varnas. Not that, oh, all of us, we are all Brahmanas, so we are together. We don't like the other community members, and then you start fighting with each other, right? This is perverted, like even amongst jatis based on birth, right? This particular caste and another caste, they're always fighting with each other. No, there's mutual respect. If the work is done for Krishna, he tells devotees in Montreal, a potter's work is just as important as a brahmana's. This also Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, we discussed in the 18th chapter. It does not matter whether you are doing a brahmana's job or you're doing a Vaishya or Shudra's duty. When that work is done in the mode of goodness and the result is offered to Krishna, everyone, whether you're doing the result that a Brahmana is getting, same result a Shudra will also get, doing his particular job. There's no need for the Shudra to become a Brahmana. No need. No need. So where is the question of people, seeing, fighting with each other? You're getting complete fulfillment in your own particular duties. And the result is the same. Whether you're doing Brahmana's job or Shudra's job, the result is the same. Everyone is coming to Krishna consciousness. Why there will be competition? Why there will be fighting? Hmm? So, uh, if the work is done for Krishna, he tells devotees in Montreal, a potter's work is just as important as a Brahmana's. Varnashrama means appreciating the work of others, no matter what their occupation, because it is devotional service to Krishna. In this volume, we will see Prabhupada address these and many other concerns about Varnashram, ranging from sociology to government and economics, and we hear him explain how all aspects can be developed in a way that encourages spiritual progress, right? So all duties, regardless of which, all duties, when they are done to satisfy Krishna, right? Samsiddhir hari toshanam. Ata pumbir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir hari toshanam. So you do your particular occupational duty, and that is perfected when it is done to satisfy Hari, the Supreme Lord. That is the principle. So then you will respect every person regardless of what type of work he is doing. In this volume we will see Prabhupada address these and many other concerns about Varnashram, ranging from sociology to government and economics, and we hear him explain how all aspects can be developed in a way that encourages spiritual progress. One may ask why nearly 30 years after Prabhupada proposed, and now it is not 30, it is over 50 years. This book was written way back in the 90, I think 92. But one may ask why nearly 30 years after Prabhupada proposed the establishment of Varnashrama, there are no examples of developed Varnashrama communities. Part of the reason is that the mundane social structures in which the first generation of Western devotees were brought up did not promote spiritual progress. Because we are depending on this Western system, Western matlab meaning modern system, okay? The modern system, we are depending on that for our livelihood, whether it is your job or education for your children or your food that you are getting. You're depending on this modern system, isn't it? So that type of lifestyle did not promote spiritual progress. Sometimes they did little even to promote material well-being for their citizens. That means, what to speak of spiritual progress, even material progress also they are not able to give. With this kind of experience in our childhood and youth, many of us are puzzled at how to succeed in such an endeavor and therefore hesitant to proceed. That means there are doubts. How will we actually proceed? Right? How will we get success? Why? Because it didn't give spiritual progress. So now you don't have that faith that this can help. We doubt the system, Varnashram system, will it work? Sometimes they did little even to promote material well-being for their citizens. With this kind of experience in our childhood and youth, many of us are puzzled at how to succeed in such an endeavor and therefore hesitant to proceed. The reservation is reasonable. Why they didn't do, we can understand it, to say it. It is difficult for a child of an abusive marriage to make his own marriage successful. You understand? Hmm? So if the system, of course, within our society also some attempts were made to start farm communities. Even when Srila Prabhupada was there, farm communities were established. And yes, some terrible things happened because of immaturity, because of not understanding the system properly and not applying it properly. So because of those bad experiences, now they have rejected it. They didn't pursue it any further. So here it is said, their reservation against the system is reasonable. Why they are not, why they didn't take any steps in that direction, it is understood. It is understood why they didn't do it. If somebody asks us why after so many years we still don't have varnashram communities, or varnashram communities, we are not just talking about farm communities, a full, because the beginning of varnashram community is varnashrama college. Now there is one Varnashrama college, very feeble attempt in Mayapur. His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Maharaj. Just recently we had, um, you know, Varnashram college seminars are conducted. Hmm. But other than that, a formal Varnashrama college, we don't have even one in the whole on the whole planet. And Srila Prabhupada had said, this is the way in the 1970s itself. Why it didn't happen, people may question, right? Why it didn't happen all these years? So one reason is they've had some bad experiences. So jaise they say, right? When you drink hot milk, the cat, you remember Tenali Ramakrishna's story. He gave hot milk to his cat, and then the next time it won't go. Anytime it sees milk, even if the milk is not hot, it'll think milk means my mouth will burn, so it won't go. Like that. They had some bad experience. Why they had bad experience? Not because the system is bad, the Varnashram system is bad, not because of that, because they did not follow the system the way it is supposed to be followed because of immaturity. So now, therefore, now we don't want. That is why they didn't make efforts in that direction. That's being said here. Why? Even after 30 years, we don't have. Uh, Sometimes they did. Okay. With this kind of experience in our childhood and youth, many of us are puzzled at how to succeed in such an endeavor and therefore hesitant to proceed. That reservation is reasonable. It is difficult for a child of an abusive marriage to make his own marriage successful. Yet, if he is properly instructed and given supportive counseling, his marriage may be as wholesome and productive as his parents' marriage was quarrelsome and miserable. This is also a fact. It is not a fact that if you've had a terrible abusive childhood, like in childhood you've experienced a bad marriage between your parents, it is not always necessary that you should also have a bad marriage in your own life, provided you are trained properly where they went wrong, why they had a bad marriage. And if you understand that properly, and if you avoid those circumstances in your marriage, you can have a very good marriage. It is possible. It is possible. So, similarly, learning from the mistakes that were made, now not repeating those mistakes, we can have a better communities. But not that you just give up the system as it is on the whole. Yes. Similarly, with good instruction and supportive counseling, we will be able to create a productive, spiritually focused social structure, even though the ones in which we were brought up failed in so many ways. So, yeah. So, there were serious problems in the farm communities that were started earlier, but that doesn't mean now we should just give up any endeavors in starting our Varnashram communities. But the way to do it is first start a Varnashram college, give proper education. It all begins with education and training. So that's the first step, not directly going to the farm and living immediately. No, first training has to be given. That good instruction and supportive counseling have been kindly provided by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. The present research, Prabhupada on Varnashram and farm community development, is an effort to bring together all of Srila Prabhupada's instructions on Varnashram Dharma and the farm communities, which he saw as the building blocks of Varnashram social structure. What are the building blocks? Farm communities. Farm communities are the building blocks of Varnashram social structure. You cannot have Varnashram structure in a city. I mean, existing city which is controlled by non-devotees. You cannot have a Varnashram system there. You have to have a farm community, a natural way of lifestyle. There you can have Varnashram. So they are the building blocks of a Varnashram social structure. Now we have a chance to hear from Srila Prabhupada himself the answers to our questions and concerns regarding the topic of Varnashram social organization. This first volume, speaking about Varnashrama, focuses on Srila Prabhupada's actual spoken conversations and lectures about varnashrama. Why focus on spoken words, one may ask. Isn't everything we need to know in Prabhupada's books? Yeah, just purports are there. Why do we need his conversations and his lectures, spoken words? In fact, the fundamental message of Prabhupada's books and his conversations or lectures is the same. There's no difference in what he's speaking and what he's written. It's the same fundamentally. Dedicate your human form of life to serving Krishna. Yeah, what is the fundamental message of Prabhupada? You dedicate this human form of life to serving Krishna. But the details and the emphasis that Prabhupada gives when in direct conversation with his disciples is sometimes different. It's understandable. It is completely understandable. When you have a person in front of you, just like sometimes I have this experience, sometimes, and nowadays with all of you, it is different. But in the past, sometimes I had this experience, there was nobody in the Zoom meeting, especially on weekends. I would be by myself. But still, because I have to do it that day. That is my commitment. So I will just speak. Even if there is no one, I will come and I will speak on that topic that day with nobody in front of me. I can tell you from my experience when there is someone in front and what to speak of when there is actually when your cameras are turned on and I am seeing you and you're interacting with me. It's a whole different experience. And even better if you're actually sitting in front of me, not with camera, but actually there. That is even more, isn't it? That interaction becomes really, you can get much more out of that interaction as opposed to just, I'm still speaking, but when there is another person, when there is conversation, when there is interaction, you will ask some questions, so much comes out, isn't it? So just from, trying to explain what is said here. So they're saying why his spoken words, why not simply his purports? Yeah, there's no difference in the message, but still, when he's speaking, when he's speaking, uh, the details and the emphasis that Prabhupada gives when in direct conversation, right? When you're speaking to someone, you come out more emphatically. This has to be done, right? So, and the details that he's giving, because it also depends on the questions that the students are asking. So more details come out. So dedicate details and the emphasis that Prabhupada gives when in direct conversation with his disciples is sometimes different. It's not that always it is different, but sometimes he gives more details. Disciples are able to bring their specific questions. This is the main important thing. When there is a conversation, the other person is asking questions, or like Mataji was giving her input. That makes the whole experience even richer. Much more is coming out from that conversation. Disciples are able to bring their specific questions to Prabhupada's attention, especially as they relate to current day affairs and practical matters. Also, they will relate to what is happening, practically what is happening in society now. So then that discussion becomes current, practical. The practical means for that situation. In turn, Srila Prabhupada, inspired by the devotees' interest, offers spontaneous response to their inquiry, which gives a fresh understanding of the topics at hand. Thus, there is special value in these spoken passages, and since they are generally harder to access in written form, it is worth gathering them together in one volume for study and reference. Yes? So, you don't get this written form in his. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I will end in 2 minutes, but thank you. So, there is special value in these spoken passages, and since they're generally harder to access in written form, it is worth gathering them together in one volume for study and reference. Himavati Dasi recounts a 1975 exchange between an ISKCON governing body commission officer and Srila Prabhupada at a Mayapur reunion. The GBC officer complained, "There are so many Prabhupada says." Matlab, meaning quoting, oh, Prabhupada said this and Prabhupada said that and Prabhupada said. So this person is saying, there are so many Prabhupada saids. Better only to accept what is in the books and tapes. So he's saying this directly to Srila Prabhupada. Someone is saying Prabhupada said this, someone else is saying Prabhupada said that. So many people are saying Prabhupada said this and that. So better to just stick to what you have given in the books. Like this GBC said. Srila Prabhupada replied, no, what I say in my talks also. Not just what is there in the books, but also whatever I am saying in my talks. Many things I say are not in my books. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. This is directly coming from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is saying, no, what I say in my talks also. Many things I say are not in my books. So you need both. You need both. So I can stop here. Actually, you know what? So that we will start with page 5 next time. I'll quickly read this last paragraph. I won't discuss and I'll end. We have 1 minute. Hearing his conversations and lectures in chronological order gives us the chance to examine the evolution of Srila Prabhupada's Varnashram presentation over time. During the earliest days, he presents Varnashram as an ideal social structure, but one which is probably not possible for the present age. Nevertheless, even in that early period, he is intent on creating brahmanas, devotees who would provide a head for society, giving it sound spiritual guidance. During the middle period, he proposes that ISKCON's brahmanas provide the leadership to create a model of varnashram in which the rest of the world can also be included. In the final phase, he presents Varnashram as an important preaching tool and a structure to be implemented initially without our ISKCON society, with devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement participating at every level. So we will discuss that again in the next Saturday's session. This part we will discuss again, because if I discuss that now, it will take more time. Thank you all so much for joining today. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada
థ్యాంక్ యూ
ki
సో మచ్
jai.
మాతాజీ.
Hare Krishna. Vancha
Hare Krishna,
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam
ఉపాసింగభ్యేవ
pavanebhyo
చ
vaishnavebhyo
पतितानां
namo
పశ్చాత్పటేభ్యో
namaha.
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।